welcome back. Despite some weakness in the overall markets, we're seeing some strength in a couple of pockets, and capital goods seems to be, the mover of today's trading session. ABB India, for instance, is up around 4.5 odd percent. In fact, most of the gains have come by in just the last few minutes, currently at the high point of trade for that counter. And the other one which is actually doing well is Siemens as well. Siemens, for most part of today's trading session, whatever, from the open to now, it was trading in the red and now has moved slightly into the green as we speak, currently sitting with a gain of about 1/3%, but still has moved into the green. So that's about a bunch of stocks which are doing well. But let's also now get in the management of Gateway Distriparks. They reported their numbers yesterday, not particularly bad for their rail freight business, but it was the CFS business that dragged the overall revenues and the volume growth lower as well. Prem Kishan Gupta, who's the chairman and the MD of the company, joins in to discuss their second quarter numbers, but more importantly, the outlook for the second half as well. Thanks a lot, Mr. Gupta. Always a pleasure speaking with you. The first half of this year, overall volumes have been sub -3%, around -3%. Just wanted to understand what's the outlook for volumes for this year, both for your rail business as well as the CFS business?
Good morning, Mangalam, and thanks for having me on the channel. See, overall numbers might be looking -3%. But if you see the rail business, that has gone up by 10% to 12%. CFS business, because we exited the leased property in Nhava Sheva in January 2022. So if you look, keep aside that, even in the CFS business, we have done well. And the volumes, which is showing a negative dip, in fact, for our facilities, which we are running now, on year-on-year basis, there is a 16% growth in that sector.
Okay.
So now looking at the second half of the year, the volumes, the imports are increasing, and we can see a slight uptake in the exports now in this month of November. October, there were a lot of holidays, so because of that, the production and the facilities had not made that much of production. But we see traction both in imports. Imports are going up in high single digit, whereas exports are picking up, say about 3 to 4%.
Okay, all right. Mr. Gupta, give us a couple of details then. For the year, what kind of volume growth can you see for the rail business? Some brokerages are estimating close to around 20%, point number one. And blended EBITDA per TEU, what should we work with? Should it be in the vicinity of around 5,300 or 5,500? Give us a number on both these two fronts.
Well, I mean, the blended revenue will be about, margin will be about 6,000 rupees for if you take on standalone, on consolidated basis. On standalone rail, EBITDA margins are over 9,000 rupees. Whereas in the containers side, it is 2,200 rupees.
Okay, so blended will be 6,000, right? That's what you're maintaining.
Yeah, blended will be 6,000.
And volume growth around 20% is possible in rail for the year FY23?
See, we have signed a SPA with the Kashipur terminals, which should close by end of December. If that kicks in, then the growth will be 20%. Otherwise, it will be still in double digit.
All right, we take that point. And on that itself, I mean, Kashipur is one of them, but apart from that, you also have announced, a capex of 250 crores to set up an ICD terminal in Jaipur, etc. as well. And this is over and above the capex that you've done in the past or you've announced in the past. So just wanted to understand what exactly would be your overall capacity and revenue potential once all the capex comes in and once, the entire dedicated freight corridor is done too?
Well, you see, the total capex that we have said in the next 12 months is of the order of 250 crores, out of which the Kashipur terminal is about 155 crores, and the other capex will be for the greenfield project near Jaipur. Now, this Jaipur ICD will kick in the next financial year only. So we, assuming that we get Kashipur terminal and we have a Jaipur terminal up and running, say, by third quarter of next year, our growth will definitely be in high double digits, and even the revenue and margins will be to that order.
Okay, all right. Mr. Gupta, when you come, we don't only like to talk about Gateway Distriparks, we also like to talk about Concord. So a couple of details out there. One, Are you interested in them? Will you be looking to put in a bid to buy Concor? Point number one. And also give us a market share of yours versus Concor. Go ahead.
Okay, so Concor is, we are not going to bid for it because our balance sheet does not support that. It will be a costly acquisition. And second thing is we are expanding on our own where Concor is already present. So we don't find any synergies by, going into those areas with them. So we are having a 17% market share in the NCR region, whereas Concor has 60% in NCR, and the rest of all is divided among other rail operators. In Saneval, we have 35% market share. So, we are leader in both the markets in NCR as far as private terminal container operators are there, and we are ahead of Concor in the Ludhiana market.
Right, we take that point. Just a couple of, if you could fine tune what you said earlier. You earlier said that you were looking to perhaps partner with PEs also, maybe to look at Concor. But now you're saying that your balance sheet does not allow that, and you're expanding in the same regions as Concor itself. So that is off the table. Just wanted to understand, with regards to your overall market share, you've given us a couple of geographies. On a national blended basis, what is your current market share? What is Container Corp's market share? And because you're expanding in those areas as Container Corp, I presume your market share would improve going forward, right? Do you have a target for the same?
Well, we have right now 9 locations all over India between the CFS and ICD. And these 2 partners that we have announced will add up to 11. And we are further going into some markets where the industries and the location where the business is there. I would not be able to give you a figure on a national level where we are compared to Concor, because they have 60 odd terminals, whereas we have only 9. But definitely on the rail side, we are much ahead of others. Concor being a big player since 30 years, more than 30 years. So they have multiple locations where we are not present, and we only go at the locations where the business is there, the profitability is there, and the networking effect helps us, with the hub and spoke model at our 2 terminals at ICD Gadi and ICD Viramgam in Gujarat.
Right. One question I wanted to ask you, because I look at your net debt currently, it's around 268 crores. Of course, you've guided for being net debt free going forward, etc. as well. But you have a stake in Snowman Logistics. You are the promoter of that company as well. Do you ever consider, selling that stake and perhaps focusing only on rail freight as well as the CFS business? Because that would immediately release about 270 to 300 crores for you.
Well, we had considered 3 years back, but the deal could not be concluded. And thereafter, we have invested time in that. We have not invested any further money. But now there is a turnaround in Snowman where, the revenues are higher, the EBITDA in absolute terms is higher. The percentage drop that you see in Snowman is because of some new activities which we have started with, which has low EBITDA margins compared to the cold chain. As far as selling, as of now, we are not contemplating that. But
Mr. Gupta, sir, as you said, in the past you'll try to sell it, and things are moving around for Snowman Logistics. If you get a good offer now, are you a seller?
No, we are not seller of Snowman right now, because Gateway on its own is generating healthy cash flows, and our debt is also going down. So if we have to borrow, we can borrow.
But what if a good offer comes, Mr. Gupta, an enticing one? Then will you sell?
Well, I don't have anything, Nigel, right now. So I cannot comment on that.
All right, we take that point. Thank you so much for joining in, and we understand that because Snowman Logistics is also a listed company, you perhaps may refrain from answering it. But you said that you tried to sell it about 3 years ago, and now things are on the mend for Snowman Logistics. Just keep an eye out on Snowman Logistics as a whole, as the stock, while it's meandering around the 39-40 odd rupees mark. from its IPO, it hasn't created a fair amount of wealth. In fact, from the highs as well, we've seen a big decline. So let's see what the promoters do with this asset itself going forward. Thanks a lot, Mr. Gupta. Always a pleasure speaking with you on talking about both Gateway Distriparks as well as Snowman Logistics as well. With that, we take a short break. On the other side, we get you more on the markets and individual stocks. Stay tuned.